like America's huge, so at least where I'm from, you would never see an older lady riding a sled, to get to the store. But that was just common in Finland. Really, the Finnish people don't own a lot of cars. Like mostly they ride bikes, and I loved that. Like everybody out riding bikes, through their market square. That was the other difference. Like here, we might have a downtown area in a city, but they have a downtown market, like a gathering, like a center area of their town where everybody comes together and they sell their farmers, what the farmers grow, or it's just a gathering place in the center of the city, which I think is amazing because we've kind of lost that community and culture here a little bit in America. I think in America everybody tries to get like the biggest and best house that they can, and in Finland they just owned their apartment or like condos, just smaller. They had smaller living, and I liked that they lived like that. I feel like it was just easier maybe to live that way than to try to just constantly give your life for the biggest and best house you could get. They had like their small city living, but then they would have like a small cabin at the lake for the summer and for getting away from their small space that they lived in the city. And I thought it was just a beautiful setting too, with the way their housing was set up and their streets and the trees, and it just seemed like you could take a picture and just put it on a poster, like the country's beautiful, the lakes everywhere. Oh, school had a big impact on me because I loved my public school experience, but now I homeschool all of my kids, and I have from the beginning, and I think that idea was just kind of a seed was planted for me because I learned in Finland they said that they don't start their kids until age 8, and they feel like their kids should just stay home and learn values, and then at age 8 they go to school, and they don't overburden their kids. They actually don't do homework there. They do their school work at school, and they get to go home and live their life. So I love their school system. They have actually tested out to be like the smartest kids in the world. And I think because they have the freedom to play and explore, and they're not burdened with this extra task of 12 hours a day of schoolwork, So that was amazing. That really impacted me. I also love that they are health conscious. What was really exciting for me back then was that we could swim in our mission. And we were, I think, maybe the only mission where we could jump in the water and swim and have like a 8-stroke limit just to get out. That just kept us on task. Like we're just jumping in and getting out instead of like we're out here swimming. And the Finns like to do a weekly sauna where they get in the hot sauna and sweat out their toxins, and then they jump in the cold pool or the lake, or they cut a hole in the ice and jump into the lake through the ice. I did have a crazy experience with that because we went to a member of our branch. We went to their cabin at the lake, and we all got in the it was several of us, several missionaries, so females and males, and we were taking turns getting hot in the sauna and just sweating, and then we were going to the lake to jump in. And when I looked at the lake, it looked to me like slush, but the top of the ice was just dimpled. So it was spring, so the ice was melting back, and so it looked slushy to me. So I jumped at the ice, and it was about 8 inches thick, and I had blood I just scraped my whole body down one side. And so I have pictures on my mission in my swimsuit, blood dripping everywhere, and that was not fun. I was kind of in shock after that experience, but
so you just like jumped on the ice?
I jumped towards it, yeah, and I hit the edge of it and just scraped all the way down. So yeah, that was painful, and I thought, I will never do that polar plunge again for the rest of my life. I just went into shock. I'm sure people do it all the time, and they do it for, heart health, and they would take branches and beat each other's backs in the sauna so that it brings the blood flow to the surface. And I love that they are health conscious in that way. Everybody in America should have a sauna in their house. It's my opinion. I don't know if they have these old washing machines now that we had back then, but we would wash our clothes in the washing machine, and then we had to stand up on blocks and open the door and drain it out the front of the washing machine, and then spin it, and then hang our clothes to dry. It just felt very rustic. I'm sure it's probably all been updated since then, but we called that washing machine the Beast because it was just quite a process every time we had to do laundry. And then I thought it was one thing that just really caught my attention when we got there is they didn't have handles on their front doors. So they just had like a kind of a deadbolt lock with these really strong keys, and you push that in and just turn it, and that opens your door. I don't know, that's just one of those memories that I thought, wow, that's so interesting, because people could take a handle and they could take it off and they could pick that lock and they could enter your home, but you never could with the way their doors are set up there. Just one interesting observation. The only, what I would say, experience that I didn't like was on the longest day of the year. They really celebrate, and there was one time when they were really celebrating and drinking and drinking and drinking, and I just saw broken glass everywhere and moaning in the city, and just that sound, I was just like, wow, I'm not sure I like that holiday. But then the next year we had Yuhanus Eve, which is the longest day of the year, and that one was a really cool experience because our whole branch went to a lodge, and they all camped at this lodge, and we were able to get up on the top of a shed and see the sun, the midnight sun. We saw the sun never set, it just stayed on the horizon, and get pictures of that, and that was so cool. Oh, and of course the aurora borealis, the green lights in the sky were just beautiful, just stunning. I also loved going up to Rovaniemi, which is up north. Usually missionaries can't leave their area, so for me to be able to go do all these adventures on my mission is not a common experience. But for some reason, because I was with these people for so long, our mission president allowed me to leave my area in Oulu and go up to Rovaniemi and go to Santa Claus Village. And it's just a village where the post office is just for letters to Santa, and you get to ride his sled and see the reindeer, and it was just such a magical place that you can't even believe that it exists. It's so amazing up there. So that was a really cool experience in Finland. I feel like in America we've just kind of lost some of our history and our arts. Like some people keep it alive with their crafts or their culture, maybe Native American culture, but in Finland, when you go to those markets that I mentioned, they sell like their handicrafts, and I just thought, I love to see that those things are still alive and well, and their culture is just, I think, important to them to keep those things going and to make things. And mostly for me it was the Christmas things that I loved. Like every year I put these ornaments on my tree that I bought at one of those markets, and they're like little tiny Finnish children that are made out of hay with these cute little elf hats. The children put on elf hats every Christmas, and all these memories are coming back. How amazing it is there. I loved it so much.